You're listening to Popcorn Unscripted,
the podcast where we dive into movies and TV shows with no scripts, no filters, just real talk and plenty of popcorn.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Dylan.
We're here to talk about everything we love
And love to hate
in pop culture. So grab your popcorn,
sit back,
and let's get this show started. Space has always been a big part of my life. I've been to the Space and Rocket Center at least 10 times and even attended space camp. I was lucky enough to find my space camp wings, which actually my mom found them, but I digress. So to be able to watch this movie and see a different side of history was an incredible experience. So welcome to episode 28. So Hidden Figures is an incredible movie set in the 1960s during the time when NASA was racing to beat the Russians to space, which obviously that did not happen, as the Russians did beat us to putting a man in space, and also put, four Sputniks, I think, into space before we even got a man up into orbit. So, needless to say, the Russians were definitely ahead of us on that front. But the movie follows three brilliant and inspiring black women, Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson. So these were the women behind the scenes, quietly doing the math, engineering, and programming that made it all possible to send the first American into orbit. And the rocket that they, of course, used, or was it the name of the capsule? No, the rocket was called the Atlas, and the capsule was called Friendship 7. And the name Friendship 7 was given to the Mercury capsule by astronaut John Glenn, and the 7 honored the original 7 Mercury astronauts. And he also chose the name Friendship to represent a sense of global goodwill and collaboration in space exploration, inspired by suggestions from his children. That's actually a neat thing to know. That's actually pretty cool. I did not know that. But it certainly came with some challenges. These women had all kinds of challenges as they fought racism and sexism all the way through their career, I'm assuming. Because this movie also takes place during the time where segregation was still very, very big, and it was not, and of course, women's rights were not, they were not nice. As one of the characters had said, sometimes civil rights are not exactly very civil, or at least it was something like that, but yeah, I entirely agree with that. To be fair, this wasn't my first time watching this movie at all. I think I even remember when this movie came out in 2016 as well, so this is a very familiar movie to me, but it's still as good as I remember, in all honesty. These three actresses, I've watched them in so many other things, and they are absolutely hilarious. Like, you can't watch a movie without these three actresses and not have a good time. I will definitely say that. And they did absolutely amazing portraying their roles in this movie as well. I honestly don't think there was a single thing that didn't work in this movie, because this movie was made, I think, with a lot of heart and soul, and there was a lot of love, I think, that went into this movie, which, of course, this movie did really, really well. There was honestly a few actors that I forgot was even in the movie, such as Glenn Powell, who ended up playing John Glenn, which I thought was actually pretty funny that his first name was Glenn and he's playing astronaut John Glenn. I honestly thought it was funny. And then you also had Kirsten Dunst as well. I honestly forgot she was in this movie as well. Her southern accent, though, that was pretty interesting, I will say the least. But this movie, of course, had its funny moments, but there was certainly some emotional moments in this movie. Especially since this movie talks a lot about not just the segregation, but also the sexism with women being in this type of field, and, you know, men not really letting women do these sorts of things. And so it was very strange that all of this was going on, and these men didn't know what to make of it with these women. They were just so confused. And especially when Catherine is in this room full of men, there's like only one other woman in that whole area, and she was, of course, a white woman. But yeah, it was crazy to watch her like really outsmart these men and make these calculations that even they couldn't do. And there was like, I think 2 engineers and then one other, the guy that was played by Jim Parsons. And it was just funny that she was the smartest person in the room that just so happened to be a woman. And obviously Jim Parsons' character did not like that at all. He didn't want her to have any part in this. He was like, I can do this myself, you know, typical man things. And don't bash me for that, because you know it's true, men. Some of you at least know it's true. I think some of you probably won't admit it, but it is true. Some men want to do it on their own, do it the way they intend to do it, and not ask for help, which that's the way a lot of men are. But I mean, like, you do you, boo boo. But I absolutely loved that about this movie, since I believe the movie was set in one of the most difficult times in American history, anyway. This movie definitely had some really tough subjects. I remember that in the movie there was also a moment that was referenced that happened here in Alabama. Like, I think a grenade was thrown into a freedom fighters bus in Anniston, Alabama, I think is what it was. But of course, with it being in Alabama, which is one of the southern states that did not, I think, that didn't want to, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with that anymore, but yeah, this movie definitely dealt with a hard time, and this movie was also set before the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., and also before the assassination of the president John F. Kennedy, as well. So there's those things. But if you're just learning about this movie and you like space and things like that, I highly recommend you go watch it. It's certainly one that I would love to rewatch. It's definitely one of those movies that you could put in the background and things like that. You could definitely like just zone out and then look at it and zone back in. Like, it can suck you in super easy, especially with the music that's in this movie. Like, it's kind of hard not to pay attention with the amazing music that is in this movie. So one of my favorite scenes from this movie is the one where it's pouring down rain and Catherine had to, of course, go to the bathroom because there was no colored bathrooms in the building that she was currently in, so she had to run. I think she said it was half a mile away to the West Campus for her to even relieve herself. And so when she got back to her desk, of course, her supervisor was like, where the heck were you? And where the heck do you go every day for like 45 minutes? And she, of course, like, in a very Catherine way, I think, is like in a very calm, like, not necessarily angry, but of course, when you're soaking wet like that and you have to walk in it and you have to walk in the rain just to go to the bathroom, I just think that was just crazy. Even right now, I'm wondering why they didn't put any colored bathrooms in that part of the campus. Is it, like, was it really that segregated of a place? Was NASA really that segregated? Is it, like, man, I'm just, honestly, when I think about it, it just makes me ashamed. I'm just like, that's so not right. Like, these people are humans too, and these white men just treated these people like trash, and anyway. But, this scene is so powerful, and the one line that I remember, from that scene is, "I work like a dog day and night, and I'm surviving off of a coffee pot that none of you want to touch." It's very emotional. You can feel the power behind it. You can even see it on the men's faces, how, like, guilty they feel, or like, you can see it on their faces, like, how guilty they feel for making her go through this when it's not really her choice. And that's what I liked about Mr. Harrison, as well as, like, he saw this issue and he knew exactly what he needed to do to make it right. And so he abolished all of the colored bathrooms. No more colored bathrooms, no more white bathrooms. And then he delivers that one iconic line after he took down that sign. He's like, "Here at NASA, we all pee the same color." I love that line too. It's super, super funny. But it's such a powerful scene, and it very much captures how difficult it was for black people in general, which of course the whole movie does. It shows the struggles of that time for those people, which I don't think, which of course, there's one other thing too. I don't think any one actor carried this movie either. That all of these actors worked so well together to tell the story, and it all flowed amazingly. Like I had mentioned earlier, it's like you could you could, like, zone out and zone back in, like, extremely easy. Like, this movie can keep your attention if you really sat down and watched it. Like, it's just such a great historical movie, and I'm glad this movie was made. Like, I genuinely think I remember this movie coming out in 2016. I don't know if I watched it in 2016. I more than likely did, because which of course during that time of my life I was still very into space. I loved space like half to death. It's yeah. But I was talking about Jim Parsons' character earlier. That was the one character I wanted to punch in the face. But his character's name was Paul Stafford. I just wanted to punch that guy in the face so many times. I'm like, listen, this woman is doing your job better than you are, and you are lucky that you have a job, because she is outperforming you tenfold. Like, she beat you and 2 other engineers and pretty much everybody in that room. She, like, outsmarted all of you. And you are treating her like that. Like, I just wanted to, like, backhand his face. Ugh. And it's mainly because of the way he kept doubting Katherine when she proved her worth time and time again. And yet, Mr. Harrison still had to let her go because of the IBM computer system that they had gotten in at the time as well. Which, of course, later on in the movie, it goes to show that you can't rely on computers. And even John Glenn had said, like, I just can't trust something that I can't look in the eye. And And even as I'm watching back on this now, I'm like, we do depend so much on technology that you can't even go without it anymore. How many hours a day do you sit there on your phone? like, and staring at your phone screen. Like, how many hours a day are you on that thing? Like, we're so addicted to technology because it's made life so convenient and easy. And I think for a lot of people, it would be very difficult to even, like, lock your phone, all of your electronics away, and just go outside, read a book, connect with actual people. Like, you know, I think it would be definitely difficult for a lot of people. It would definitely be difficult for me because I'm so I'm so into technology. I love how convenient technology is. I like to make life simpler. I like that about technology, but at the same time, you can only make life so simple with technology as well. I honestly don't think I would change anything about this movie at all. This movie was written so beautifully, and it was produced, like, the cinematography was great. I loved the connection between the beginning scenes where the teacher hands the piece of chalk to Catherine when she's a child, and in college, mind you, in college. That's nuts. He hands her the piece of chalk. I liked the parallel between that, where the teacher's handing her the chalk, and then Harrison's handing her the chalk. I loved the parallel there of that. I just think that's also such an important scene because it's a white man giving a black woman and telling her, do this good work that I know you could do, essentially. And I honestly think it's such an amazing feat, I guess you could say. But since it has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes on both the tomato and popcorn meter, I certainly wouldn't change a thing. Like, it's popular for a reason. It's an amazing movie for a reason. It's just so beautiful. I can't even think of any other words to describe this movie. It's just absolutely amazing. It's amazing. I can't, like, fantastic. Dare I say fantastic. But this movie is just incredible. Like, it takes you through not only the Atlas rocket, but you also have which other rockets? I know the other rocket was Redstone, which of course here in Alabama we also have, I think it's in Alabama, the Redstone Arsenal. I think that's here in Alabama too. But I digress. But from the acting to the music, it's just a joy to watch. Like, if you sit down and watch this movie, you are guaranteed to have a good time. I absolutely adore this movie. I love the women in this movie. These women are absolutely amazing. I especially love the actress that plays Dorothy Vaughan. I absolutely love her. She's a hoot and a half, I'll tell you that much. If you're watching a movie with her in it, you know you're gonna have some fun. You know you're gonna have some fun with her. But with this being about these three amazing women, I don't think you could change much about the story. I don't think you could really change, because everything just plays out so well. I just don't think anything should be changed about it. It's just so beautiful. I wouldn't change any of the cast, or even the pacing of the movie. The pacing of the movie was great. I like, it kept my attention for the most part, which of course I watched it twice. But this movie is just so great. I wouldn't change a thing. Even all the subplots I think were spot on as well. It all just came together in like a neat little ball, and you can just put like a pretty bow on the top of it, and it's just a nice present. It's a nicely wrapped present is what this movie is. That's one of the best ways I can describe it. And I don't think there was any moment that really dragged at all. I don't think there was anything that really dragged in this movie either. And it's just a great, fantastic, amazing movie. Like, all the things. It's just a great movie. A great watch. Super fun. I digress. So, here's another thing too, is I've never seen Apollo 13, and Apollo 13 actually came out in 1995 before this movie came out. So if it were to have reminded me of any movie, I probably would have thought of this movie, which of course, as I said, I never seen Apollo 13, but I have a feeling that if you were to watch Apollo 13, you would enjoy Hidden Figures, because Hidden Figures, all of that happens before Apollo 13, if I remember my history correctly. This movie even takes place before Apollo 11, I think. Because all of this happens before we even sent our first man up to the moon. This was before all of that. And another neat thing too is that all three of these women worked on that project, or at least Katherine did. I know Katherine did, but I think all of them worked on those projects as well, which was actually really, really, really cool. I also like to think that any movie that deals with space can be difficult to put on film, because I think a lot of the times you're having to come up with how space looks, which of course we know how space looks because of course we have images and stuff now, but I genuinely think that it's hard to produce something like that and make it look convincing and real, like they're actually in space and they're actually doing things in space. Which of course nowadays we have the technology where that doesn't necessarily matter, but I think back in 2015, 2016, I think that was fairly difficult, because especially during the parts where they had sent Glenn up into space, you didn't really see much of space at all. You kind of got glimpses, and then you also got some shots of the capsule going up into the atmosphere, up into orbit, and then of course you had it when the things that when it was coming back down to Earth as well. You had those moments as well, but yeah, but it's mostly fictional stuff where I think it's kind of difficult to come up with space moments, to say the least. Which of course, with this movie being made in 2015, as I had said, and coming out in 2016, they had a lot to work with to make the space scenes realistic, especially with the images that they had of just Earth as well from, I'm guessing, the International Space Station. But yeah, yeah. So I will say, if you are interested in the history of the space race, or how they figured out all of the technological stuff, or even just a fan of space in general, you will enjoy this movie. You'll enjoy any space movies, I guess, really. I'm not sure how accurate it is on the space front, how historically accurate it is on the space front, but I would say it's fairly accurate in other areas as well. This movie is this movie is definitely fairly accurate, especially with all of the talks of segregation, and then you also had the hints of sexism as well in this movie. But I like to think this movie is a really great testimony. You can do anything you set your heart to do, and Mary Jackson definitely proved that. She was the first white woman to attend an all-white school, and I think she was also the first black woman engineer, if I remember my history correctly. I think she's also the first black woman engineer as well, which is very awesome. I like that a lot. But yeah, so getting into the fun facts, I feel like I've already shared a bunch of fun facts, but so the real Katherine Johnson, the real person, apparently had received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015, and I think that happened around the time the movie was being filmed. It was either before it was being filmed, or it was like after filming had wrapped up, or it was during that time. It was at some point during that year. I think it was around the time when the movie was being filmed, or before it was filmed. And even the actress that had played Katherine even got to meet her before filming began, which was actually pretty cool. I think it's really cool if you're playing a historical figure and you get to actually meet the historical figure and actually get to talk to them and speak with them and be able to ask them questions about how to portray them. Like ask them if there's like any certain mannerisms that they do. Is there anything that you say, or is there like a certain way you say things? Things like that. I think it's just really, really cool. Oops. I just think it's a really, really cool thing. But yeah, which of course, this is like a side note, but I know for Narcos, I know that Pedro Pascal and Boyd Holbrook, I think his name, both of them got to meet the two agents that they portrayed in that series, which was really, really cool to think about. Like you actually get to meet. Like, I like when the actors get to meet the actual people that they are portraying, and they get advice from the actual person on how to portray them, which is really cool. But usually when things like that are made, most of it has to be fictional. I know that Pedro had made a character choice where Javier types with only one fingers because somebody had said that it's you can't trust somebody that only types with two fingers on the keyboard, with just the two index fingers. And but anyway, side note. And also, I didn't know this either, but Pharrell Williams, who was the one that wrote some of the music for this movie, also co-produced this movie. I did not know that. It's actually pretty cool. I didn't really know that. And I like Pharrell Williams pretty well. I love his music. I absolutely adored the music in this movie. It made me really want to like dance along, and it's just super, super good. Which of course I like jazz music. I grew up on jazz music, band kid, obviously. Which of course when I was in school we did a lot of jazz music. I remember there was one jazz show we did. We'd do the Beatles every other year, in memory of a music teacher that we were doing it in memory of him, that we had as a teacher. Or I think, if I remember correctly, I think my grade was the last grade to have him as a teacher, so it was still pretty cool. But another cool fact also, NASA also renamed a building after Katherine in 2016. I'm guessing either before the movie had come out, or the movie had just came out and then they renamed the building. I'm not exactly sure of the time frame, but it happened in 2016, and yeah, so that's that. But to kind of sum things up here, so what did all of you guys think of Hidden Figures? Did the film do justice to the real life women? What moment resonated with you? Shoot me a message on Insta or Twitter at PopUnscripted, can't speak, or drop a comment wherever you're listening. So to kind of end things out, to me, Hidden Figures just proves that the stories we don't hear are often the most important ones. And I also think that it shows that you can do anything that you set your mind to as long as you apply yourself. You don't have to be super smart in order to do the things you love. You don't have to be this super smart person to do the things that you want to do. As long as you can apply yourself, and as long as you have a passion for that thing that you love, you will always succeed. That's all for today's episode of Popcorn Unscripted.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PopUnscripted, then Popcorn Cinema on Facebook.
And let us know your thoughts or any suggestions for future episodes. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. We upload every Wednesday and Saturday.
If you'd like to send us a message or subscribe for bonus content, check out the links in the description.
Your support means a lot and helps keep the conversation going.
If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to leave us a review. It helps us out a ton, and we love hearing your thoughts.
Until next time, keep your popcorn close
And your movie critiques closer.
Thanks for listening to Popcorn Unscripted.